This was not to kill him. Whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is it could still be a good movie, but they would fucking surprise me and make it amazing if everything we just saw in that trailer happens in the first 30 minutes to an hour.
And I doubt that because it's really not how they're doing trailers now. Do 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 do.
You just really wanted to start it off with
I
that.
fucking did, man.
Yeah.
Nobody's on board.
No, that's fine.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I love the Santa Claus. I love Tim Allen.
What? No, you think Home
Improvement.
Alone.
I don't think Home Alone when I hear that.
I think
I don't.
I think
When I think
Claus-
Home Alone, I think Home Alone 2,
Everybody thinks Home Alone.
Stuck in New York or Lost in New York or whatever, when he runs into Donald Trump.
He does. He does cross paths
Right.
with the future president of the United States of America in that film. Macaulay Culkin and Donald Trump are in cohorts.
Joe Rogan.
Fact.
Fact.
Joe Rogan had Macaulay Culkin on his show, man.
No shit. I
Yeah.
haven't
Really?
even seen
yeah.
that one at all.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah, it's strange.
You know, he's doing, from what I heard, Macaulay Culkin's doing a lot better. I know he went through a heavy drug period. I thought he
That's the last
came
thing I
out of that.
remember. Like, if you look at, what's the last picture I saw of Macaulay Culkin? It was him with, like, the coked out looking fucking face, like, super skinny, fucking flesh and bones kind of.
Yeah.
But that's years ago. That's like 2008 or some shit.
Yeah. I heard he was doing better, but, you know, he won't return my phone calls, so.
All right. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show, the podcast called Talk Junkies, where we are not coming to you live from my house.
I'm so glad you're finally figuring that out. What's live and what's not live.
Unlive.
Unlive.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
What episode are we on now, Paul? Do you know off the
We're
top of your
on,
head?
like Talk 66 or Talk 67.
Shit, man.
That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Feels
I
like
gotta
yesterday
figure out when I
we
came
started
on,
this
like
shit.
what I was actually.
I think we were in our 50s, somewhere down there in our 50s.
Cool.
A lot of those I would do 3 or 4 during the Chiefs season in 1 week, but I count it right now. But
Yeah.
Like True Talk, we're probably right in like the 45 range.
I mean, eventually we differentiate between the sports and this one, anyways, have them be called same channel, two different things. And that's all fucking behind the scenes mumbo jumbo that nobody gives a shit about.
Exactly. Which that's coming up very shortly. But I want to give a shout out to our newest subscriber, That Bookie. Thanks for subscribing. We got the Thompson fam. They subscribed. And we have only RTE, which I would assume is right. Like, RITE, but just, I'm not going to assume. Sorry if I got that wrong, only right. But thanks for subbing.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
You got my cousin Donnie. He's, he's made a comment, said, damn good place to eat when we were talking about Jose Peppers last week. And then we have Tim Denham.
That's a dope last name.
Yeah.
Tim Denham.
Yeah, that's a good name.
That's
It's a strong name.
Yeah, he's got some longevity. You know? He can last a while.
that's like a porn star name.
Yeah,
For sure
No,
it is.
holy fuck, that is such a porn
Tim
star.
Denham?
Tim Denham.
Tim, I'm sorry, man, but like your name is solid. Dude.
Yeah.
It's solid. And he said that he whenever he commented on one of the videos, he said you have 2 subs here. So he either has 2
That's what's
accounts, or he has another
Nice.
person. That's
Hopefully it's 2
listening.
people. Hopefully it's,
Yeah.
not just 2 Tim Denham accounts.
Yeah. He also asked our age. I told him how old all 3 of us were. So
Should we tell him to Levi a comment? Oh!
Fucking
Oh!
pun podcast
Hey,
coming at you,
let's
not
go.
live.
hold on. I could be saying his last name wrong. It's
That's true.
It's Denham.
Denham.
Denham. Okay,
Denham.
not denim like jeans.
Yeah, but
denim.
Exactly. You don't
Close enough.
Just
You
for
know
the
what?
sake of my pun, it's Denham. Denham. Yeah.
Anyways, I want to thank all of you, each and one of you, for subscribing to our podcast and listening to us ramble on for over an hour. So I really do truly appreciate that.
I've the last couple have been a little longer, like 115, 130 even was the last one, I think.
Yeah.
I like it.
But
I like
Crow,
it.
it's because the Crow podcast was cutting
True.
in and out,
Forgot
so
about
that
that.
kind of,
I don't know. They were still
there was
sexy.
a bunch of empty space in that one, but
For sure.
Yeah.
For anyone who didn't watch last week's podcast, check it out. Really, really good podcast. So
you still need to go back and listen to our own podcast here because I forget. But you said it was real good.
Yes.
So I'm happy about that.
100%. I was very enthused for the way we all presented ourselves that night.
solid.
But I feel like we've just been stroking our own dicks now for the last 5 minutes, talking about subscribers and how good our podcast is and so on and so forth. So what do you want to talk about today, Paul?
I honestly, man, I don't know.
Or just the laid back, chill, talk about whatever podcast because I'm beat after this last couple of weeks.
I'm right there with you, man. There was one thing I had in mind, but we could save that for later.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, if no one knows, one of the topics I wanted to talk about, do you still not know, or do you know? Didn't you say you
No,
didn't?
I mean, like, how do you feel with Avengers Endgame and that being a big deal in cinematic history? I don't know if it's beat out Avatar yet.
I don't know. You'd have to look that up. I know it beat
Titanic. It beat out Titanic. But should you be able to sue someone for spoiling a movie for you?
No, not at all.
No, you shouldn't.
No.
Should you be able to punch them in the genitals
well, yeah.
and legally get away with it for spoiling a movie? Because fuck those people.
No.
Depends how they spoiled it.
Again,
Like, out of an act of almost...
Like on purpose, just like
on purpose, like, I don't like you.
jumped out and was like, "Hey, yo, oh man, I almost said something which I don't want to spoil it."
Don't do that.
No. So
Don't do
I'll go
that.
back. I'm about
We're
to
not
spoil
creating examples.
fucking Star Wars. So cover your ears if you haven't seen fucking 2 Star Wars movies ago, like 5 years ago or
They
whatever.
probably
like,
don't give a shit.
Exactly.
At that point, it's been so much time.
That's what
they
I'm
probably
saying.
don't give a
So
shit
anyways,
if you
fucking,
spoil.
But if someone
Han Solo's
jumped out
death.
after the Avengers and was like,
just
Han
said it.
Solo dies.
I know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I just want
And they're like, Han Solo dies, and they jump out of the theater. Like, when we were walking in to see the Avengers, we were literally walking past people coming out, not shitting you, walking past them going, la, 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 like, I don't want to fucking hear you guys even talking about scenes.
And because you can't blame them, because what do you do right after a movie?
You're heated.
You fucking,
especially
you
if you're
start
slightly,
talking about
especially
that
if you're
shit.
slightly intoxicated, because the theater we were at serves
We went to cinema.
alcohol.
I literally drank an entire bottle of wine and spilt it halfway through.
I
on
literally-
fucking Savannah. It was hilarious. No, this motherfucker. So he comes up. Hold on. I'll let you finish because I know what you're about to fucking say. He comes up to me in Savannah, and for anybody who doesn't know, that's my girlfriend, and she is not of age just yet. She is 20 years old. Guy comes up.
She's of age, but she's not 21. Oh, to drink alcohol.
No.
Yeah, to drink alcohol.
Damn,
the
Paul.
fuck, man.
Nice.
She's 20. The fuck, man. Guys, I'm making.
She's
right life
over
decisions.
18. She's
So I asked-
21 or 20 years old. She
I-
can't legally drink.
I get it. I get a fucking bottle of Cabernet. Don't remember the name of it. Very mediocre. Paid way too much for it. It's like fucking $40 for a fucking bottle. It's probably like a $10 goddamn bottle of wine. Like
If that.
$8.
Yeah, probably
$8
cheaper.
bottle of wine. Anyway, doesn't matter. I pay a lot of overhead at movie theaters. He doesn't card me, and he brings me 2 wine glasses and then sets one down at Savannah's fucking shit, and she doesn't drink. She doesn't fucking drink, and then sets the other. I was like, bro, this is. I was not even gonna use the wine glass. Like, you could have saved both
Just
the
give
wine
me the
glasses. I'm about to just drink this whole bottle because I'm about to watch the most epic fucking culmination of fucking cinema shit I've ever seen in my life. So anyway, now I'm almost deviating from the story because what happened with the same guy?
The same fucking server comes up to me, which, like, man, I'm like going bald and shit. Like, I look older than Jesse. It's true. I look older than Jesse. Okay? Same fucking server.
You're
comes
not a
up to
spring
me.
chicken anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you think I'm under 21, you're fucking crazy. Comes up and IDs me. And I don't have my fucking wallet because the movie tickets are on my phone. So I didn't even we were in a rush to leave the house and everything. I wasn't driving. Like, whenever I drive, I always grab my keys and my wallet. I wasn't driving. None of that. Just somehow forgot my wallet. Never do that, but forgot my fucking wallet. I have it tonight. I don't
Yeah,
need
it's
it
weird.
tonight.
I always have my wallet. I have
I
my
have
wallet
it-
right there.
I have
on
my
the
wallet
table.
right
I have
now.
my wallet with me
For
everywhere I
some
go.
reason, though, forgot my
You got
fucking
your wallet on you?
No, I mean it's upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, this is your house.
You're
That makes
in your
sense.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot my fucking wallet, and I get ID'd, and I can't fucking drink during the goddamn movie now.
Yeah.
Should have, in hindsight, I should have just had you buy me some fucking booze and pass it over. But at the time, I was also the movie was starting.
Yeah.
I would like to throw this out as well. Honestly, fuck those kinds of theaters for a movie you care about. Like, if you're going in there to watch something
You don't need a fucking cheeseburger and fries and a fucking.
but I mean,
your
no,
milkshake.
if you're going in there to watch something that's
serious.
I was going to say the opposite. If you're going in to watch something that you don't really give a shit about, it's just the new movie that came out that people are seeing, but it's nothing super important. It's not like Endgame where it's been a 10-year legacy just building up to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, ordered the fucking cheeseburger and all this different shit. But I hate, I was there to watch this fucking movie. That's the only reason I'm there. And I realized that they stopped taking orders during the trailers. But that means for the first fucking 30 minutes of the movie, there's just people walking in front of me, bringing out food and talking and signing credit card slips and all this. And I'm like, I'm watching a goddamn movie, like, that I care about.
Yeah.
I just, it's really annoying. I will never go to that type of theater again for
Big name.
a
movie.
big name movie that I
You said
give a shit
during the
about.
movie that was happening?
During the
Yeah.
first 30 minutes
Yeah, the first
of
30
the
minutes.
actual movie.
of the actual movie.
No.
They try
I'm
to be
good on
discreet,
that.
but it's still
But
distracting.
it's still
No.
distracting. It's
Well,
still.
then they
still
need to
distracting.
design the architecture needs to design it better
It-
to where you know
it's
where
just-
it literally just pumps the fucking food and alcohol up into your ass from out of the seat. That way you don't have to have anybody walking in front of
it
you
would have
disrupting
to be like,
the movie.
It'd have to be like cathedral style, you know, like with
It-
big
the-
walls.
there's
like,
nothing wrong with these type of theaters. Most people have been to them, like the dinner and a movie fucking theaters that have the big old fucking. I've been to ones that have the tables. Like you literally sit in normal fucking. It's like you're at a high top at the bar watching a fucking movie. It's weird, but I've been to those type of theaters. Nothing wrong with that if it's just a fucking joke around movie that you don't care about and you're there.
Yeah, the new Sandra Bullock flick.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I could miss 45 minutes of this shit, and it's perfectly fine. Like, I'm
and
right
there's
on
like
board.
people
I totally
talking
get
and
it.
all that. But for a movie you actually give a shit about, I do not recommend go to a fucking classic movie theater with shittier seats. It doesn't have to be the huge old fucking couch recliner shit. It can be fucking just shitty stadium style seating or whatever. But at least then there's not people walking around ordering food and all this crazy shit. Like that pissed me off.
That
It really
ruins
did,
it, man. That
it
ruins it.
really
Not
like
for Endgame, not for Endgame, but
I didn't like it.
I still have yet to go see it again, which I need to
You
see
need
it
to.
again. It
I
was,
liked
it
the
was
I
an
liked the movie. I
experience.
should clarify. I liked the movie. I did not like the whole people walking around and stuff.
I wouldn't either. That would be frustrating.
It's really
Have you taken Phoenix to go see Endgame?
I haven't went to a movie theater in probably at least 2 years, man. Maybe even longer. It's been a
That blows my
long
mind,
time.
man. Really?
Yeah. Long
I-
time.
I love the theater. I love the theater. It's a beautiful experience. You know, you sneak the candy in, you sneak the pocket shots tucked up underneath your ball sack. You get the Coke. You add in the bourbon that you've snuck in.
Oh, Jim Beam.
Dude,
Oh,
I'm not, you don't
American
pay
honey.
if you buy candy at a movie theater.
Yeah.
You're a fucking dumb motherfucker. You need to watch some Dave Ramsey fucking videos about how to financially correct your future. Sneak your fucking candy into the movie theater like an adult.
That's step
okay?
one.
That's Dave Ramsey.
He's got 7. Just to clarify, Dave Ramsey, great fucking listen to Dave Ramsey. Check it out. It's great if you want to get your financial life together and stuff.
He's a little religious, but
That's fine. You can move past that. Just listen to the financial stuff. He's got these 7 steps to success or whatever. But I would like to rewrite them. Step 1, sneak fucking candy.
sneak your fucking candy in the movie theater. It's
Dude,
overpriced. I almost said
The
inflammation.
overhead.
They
I
have
almost said inflammation of
they
candy.
have candy radars at movie theaters now.
Bullshit.
That doesn't
Bullshit.
even make fucking
no,
sense.
they don't. You know how much money that would cost to create that kind of technology that could sense sugar? Fuck you. I'd be like, man, I got prosthetic balls. They use Skittles because that's what my girlfriend likes to fucking put in her mouth. I'd be like, you're not patting me down, motherfucker. Not patting me down. No, be an adult. Sneak your fucking milk duds in your fucking however you do it. They don't pat you down at the movie theater, at least not in Belton.
No.
Not yet. Maybe after this video comes out, they crack down on it a little bit, but Belton Cinema.
For me, it was never the candy though. It was always just the bringing in the booze. I remember.
Oh, booze is easy.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
but it's funny. People bring in flasks or pocket shots, like you said. There's nothing wrong with that. I remember back in the day when I was 22, 23, we would straight up just walk into the theater. All 4 of us sit there, and all of a sudden, not one, but 2 of us are randomly open our coat, and here's a 5th of Captain. Did anybody buy Coke? And we're just doing the whole
And at that point,
Taking a pull.
no one's walking in.
Could you imagine having your friend so you get a wheelchair, right? And you get one of those oxygen tanks, he has cancer
It's
or whatever,
just
but it's
full
just
of
filled with booze.
fucking booze.
Wheel him into
That's
the movie
great.
theater. You get a discount on tickets and everything. You get the best seat in the house.
Oh man, that's great.
Just unlock fucking free booze out of the shit. Oh my god, it is great. That needs to be done. Recreate that. That's my dream now.
Someone looks over and I saw you just pull that. You just pulled off his oxygen thing and put it in your mouth. Yeah, I'm fucking. It's hard to breathe in here. Okay.
This movie is so exciting.
Yeah.
I just need to
Lost
get.
my breath. Need some oxygen. He doesn't mind.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
That'd be interesting.
That would be.
That's the way to do it. That's
Sneak-
that's
ba-
hardcore. Sneak your shit into the theaters.
Summarize this whole thing. Sneak your shit into fucking movie theaters because they're goddamn
Dave Ramsey, step one.
ridiculous influx in price on shit in movie theaters. Don't ever buy a car from a movie theater. You pay
Dave
way
Ramsey,
too much.
step two.
Goddamn car from movie theaters, man. $100,000 for a 91 fucking Honda fucking Civic. Don't do it.
They would charge you that much if they could.
They
too.
would.
Yeah, they would.
If
Yeah,
the
they
movie
would.
theater sold cars,
Fucking movie theaters, man. Okay, I swear.
How did that start? We were talking about
I don't
Endgame?
know. I don't know. Segue, Paul. That's your job, man.
yeah, host it up.
It is, man. But yeah.
That was well done.
Yeah, my mind's so fried from fucking working.
I'm going to talk about that real quick. I don't want to talk about work. I really don't want to talk
No,
about
I
work.
refuse to talk about
I'm
work.
going to very
Legally,
quickly,
we might not even be able to talk about
just gonna
work.
I think we ever do, but
quickly bring up the fact that like for all three of us, the last 2 weeks, last 2.5 weeks have just been fucking non-stop. Non-stop.
Yeah, I feel as though my job has...
So we're all a little bit fried, a little bit just like, I don't know. I just can't take it. I can't take it. I need a day off. I need a day off so bad.
I feel like my job has gone back in time and then found the fucking piece of my dick that got cut off when I was a kid, found it, sewed it back on genetically,
And then just yanked it off again?
Recircumcised me the past like fucking 2
Aggressively.
weeks. Yeah, because they stomped my dick this week. But yeah, that's
All right,
work.
that was my little. That's all I had.
There we go.
Because
Yeah.
Paul wasn't segueing. So.
Yeah, we're overworked. Anything new with tariffs or Donald Trump or the government? We need to get into
Anything
something
important
serious. Like we
happening?
came in real funny. You know,
enough.
we get serious or we,
fair enough, man. So something that's kind of, I mean, we get older each year, right?
I mean, that's a fact.
Yes, very-
that's
very
hard to
true.
debate.
So
I got that Benjamin Button disease.
and I think we've hit climate change a little bit, but man, hasn't the weather been just a tad bit odd so far this year? I mean, it's already almost June and we
Man.
haven't had anything over like 80 degrees.
That happened several years ago too, though. We've had a
Yeah.
really fortunate we live in Missouri, live in Kansas City, basically, Kansas City area. We've had a really good few years. If you go back and look at like 2009 and 2011 and 12 and 13 and shit, like it was fucking nuts like this all the time. There was fucking snow on the ground in fucking May.
Yeah.
Like you go to 2011, ice storm and shit, there was fucking ice storms in fucking May. And that was a regular thing for like 3 or 4 years. We've just had a really, really boring, really tame winters the last few years, which I think short-term memory, we're all used to it. So now this seems crazy.
Exactly.
Although the hail today was a little nuts.
It was. That was crazy.
That was like
it
some,
hails
like
in Missouri
some flash
for
hail.
this. Okay, hail happens right around this time every year in Missouri. It will hail like this, which I honestly it didn't even hail where I was at.
I haven't
I
seen
saw-
hail like that in a long time. Very long time.
And it covers small areas with like hail. Like it did not hail at my house, which is only 5 minutes away from the place of work that actually hailed its fucking dick off. And hail is like that. Like it's
Yeah.
very
Well, even the rain today was like that too. Because like there was a part when I was leaving the house to go to work, and it's raining hard fucking core, like nonstop rain.
Did you
Wipers
freak out about the new truck, man?
wipers on full blast.
The new truck
wasn't
you got?
The hail wasn't that bad.
Were you freaking out?
It wasn't that bad yet.
I would've
But
freaked out.
It did go through my mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I buy a
Yeah.
brand new
I
fucking
had to.
car
It's
and
new-
it's outside
new vehicle.
unprotected.
I got Gap insurance, motherfucker.
Oh, so you're good.
Yeah.
Insurance company is
Oh,
they
yeah.
they rape you for money and then they'll I'll spend $50 on your hail damage. You just give us $10,000 over the next 5 years.
I don't know if I necessarily want to go through it like the climate change again because we've already done a whole podcast on it. But
Yeah, I'm not feeling
sun-
the climate change.
Allegedly, from what we're told, is the sun is in a 12-year cycle of when it gets closer to the to
I've never
Earth.
heard that before. I didn't know that.
It has 12-year cycles where it gets closer and further away from the Earth, and maybe that's why we have hotter summers than others and
I mean,
stuff like that.
I feel like the weather and everything in life has always been pretty cyclical.
yeah, and you put it best, man. Human beings they just get so forgetful after 3 years.
Over 3 days.
Yeah.
For me
That's what I'm
personally.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Short term, like we've had a nice 3 years, so it's like all of a sudden people blank out the fact that we used to have really fucking ridiculous winters there for a while. So this winter, when it had those couple of days of like snow, people were like,
Freaking
"Oh
out,
man,
man.
it hasn't snowed like this in a long time." And I'm like, by a long time, if you mean the last 3 years, yeah, you're right. But before that, it was nuts. It was crazy. Like 2014
There was one year
was the last ridiculous one.
Yeah, when we lived in the duplex and we had that snowstorm. I don't know if you were over at the house, but we literally walked. We were going to walk to Walmart to buy a fucking 30-pack when we lived behind Price Chopper. you didn't live with us at the time, but it was we were snowed in. I think that time we got like 12 inches of snow.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't remember that one.
In this year, we got 8 inches of snow, and it was a blizzard because it was windy, but it was only 8 inches. That's not that much snow.
My first year in college, which would have been 09 into 2010. That 09, the end of 09, the beginning of 2010, that winter, I was up about 2 hours north of where we are now. No, Belton. No, this is farther south. 2.5 hours north of here. You wouldn't think 2.5 hours makes a big difference, but I remember there was snow on the ground from like October all the way till May, and I remember driving my fucking car back home, which at the time was only an hour south. I would drive my car 1 hour, and it's just covered with snow. There's snow everywhere, and I would get to Platte City, where it's just fucking green. Everything's green, and people looked at me like, where the fuck did you come from? Because shit's just covered in snow, and there it's like summer. And they're like, where did you come from? And I was like, an hour that way. Like 1 hour. That's it. Just like right up the street.
Why do people live in Minnesota and like Canada and shit? Like what? Because that they deal with snow like 9 months out of the year, I'm sure. Like
They just do.
that's crazy.
It is.
Is that why they're so polite?
Could be. Thankful.
'cause
You also
they-
you bring up a this has nothing to do with the weather, but you're talking about the whole like why do people live whatever. It just made me think like why does somebody live in Minnesota? They've lived there their whole like why do you live in Missouri? Missouri fucking sucks. Why do you live in Missouri?
It's very true.
That's because I grew up here.
That's what I'm saying. Like what think about it though. Man, there's a whole world out there.
And change scares me.
There's a whole world out
Yeah,
there.
why do you live where you live? How do we all end up exactly where we're at? You have 350 million people placed in one spot here in the United States. How'd they all end up here?
This is a good motherfucking place to live, though. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah, it's
Kansas
cheap.
City's a
It's
good place
cheap.
to live.
It's cheap.
It's very cheap.
Cheap to live. It is centrally located
Central,
in the
yeah.
United. Actually, the number one city to start a business in is Kansas City, due to its geographic location within the United States as far as shipping goes.
Yeah.
Strictly for shipping and other reasons.
That's why
because
most
it's
factories and stuff around here, like both Kawasaki plants,
Amazon,
are in
Amazon, throwing
Missouri
up
and
factories
Nebraska.
and shit.
Those are the only ones in
Yeah.
the United States. And
Midwest.
They're both in Midwest.
Great fucking place to start a bit. There's still that Midwest small town mentality in a lot of these places. I see it in Belton quite a bit, where it's still this close knit community where it's not like a dog eat dog style like New York, you know, where everybody's fucking, you know, trying to get their own kind of shit, where people still kind of give a little bit of a fuck about you. I mean, not a whole lot, but they still give this, you know, minute little fuck about you still and hold doors open and say, you know, please and thank you and shit. It still happens.
Yeah.
It still happens in where I live, and I really like that. You know, some sense of appreciating other people
I mean, you
and
can go
just the fact of their existence.
And it gets even more
is
that way.
nice.
You go a little more south, like closer to like Springfield, and go to those smaller towns, like Stockton, for example. You go to Stockton or like El Dorado or whatever down there, and it's like, I mean, every single person you see, like you pass 5 cars in a row, like one car, and then 300 feet later you pass another car. Every one of those motherfuckers just waves at you.
Because they're like, oh, a human being?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's a human being I haven't seen in this town before.
But, I mean, that's...
But everybody's nice.
Yeah. No, it's cool, though. Yeah, no, it creates this, you know, a better atmosphere for the most part. You know, I'm sure there are negatives in there, too, that you could find, but like anywhere else. But I enjoy that about a smaller town.
Right now, not knowing... You've lived in Missouri your whole life, right? Your
Yes.
entire life.
Yes, my entire life.
So-
Well, I was born in St. Clair County, Illinois.
Okay.
So technically I was born
What
in
age
St.
did you
Louis.
move at?
Like real young, like 2 years old.
Okay.
So I don't, you know.
But like, so
Basically.
right now, basically knowing Missouri,
Kansas
if
City,
you had
born
to, if
born
you
and bred,
just
basically.
curious question, if you had to choose in the United States, has to be in the United States.
Yes.
Including everything like income and fucking. I'm not just talking weather and shit. I'm talking how that actually is. What state would you live in if you had to choose one? I'm just fucking making conversation at this point.
I think it would be different, though. I mean, when it comes to income, yeah, Missouri's a great place to live in. But if you were to grow up or be born in a place like Colorado or Utah, where it's a very beautiful place to live, like maybe income.
I was thinking Colorado.
Maybe income isn't even a factor at that point.
No. I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is, you have to know that if you move to California, shit's going to be more expensive, but realistically, your job will pay more too, kind of thing. But you have to.
That's actually not how that works. That's actually not how that works. So the rent out there is really fucking high, but people don't necessarily. Okay, in Missouri it's different because there is a fucking difference, but in a lot of places it's not that fucking big of a difference. But the fucking rent out there is much higher, the cost of living, and not when it comes to like groceries and gas or everything, because that stays the same.
But housing
cost.
That's what I'm
shit ton
saying,
out
though.
there.
Wherever
But
you
that
move,
doesn't necessarily make up for it financially.
I'm just saying wherever you move, you have to take that into effect. It's just a
How are you
hypothetical
disagreeing with
question.
I've been to California multiple times. I've stayed in places of. Okay, so my wife.
I'm sure you can find some poverty places as well.
Yeah, for sure. But my wife, her family, or she has family that lives in Long Beach, and we stayed there for over a week. We went grocery shopping. You go to fast food. Everything's more expensive. Everything, compared to Missouri.
Maybe on a taxation level, but the actual
not even
before sales tax shit is probably the same.
True.
Real fucking close.
True. Their taxes are probably a lot higher.
It's
right?
their
It's a liberal
taxes that are
state. Yeah,
that are
makes
higher.
sense.
But
In general, I was just asking, where would you live? You pretty much. I mean, you said Colorado. I could see you going to Colorado or Utah, knowing you.
you know they legalized psilocybin in Colorado.
No,
I did not know that.
Yes, they fucking did. They're the first fucking state. They did not.
Medicinally?
They did not. Yes.
Okay.
Or no, decriminalized. I'm sorry. They decriminalized.
Not legalized.
They did not legalize. They decriminalized.
So just a ticket.
Not mushrooms. Psilocybin, which is the psychoactive chemical in mushrooms.
So you can just buy psilocybin
no.
and be fine?
No.
Just get a ticket?
You cannot buy it, but they decriminalized it in Colorado, and I applaud them for that.
So if you bought it
Before even fucking California, supposedly the leading, the most,
So hold on, my question is, can you
Yeah.
buy psilocybin?
No, they decriminalized it.
But can
So
you,
in
no,
the
no, no,
same
no.
sense
I'm
that
not
the
saying, I'm not
You
saying,
can't buy it. You can't sell it.
You can't-
Decriminalized means that if you have it,
Sorry.
you
What I meant to
no
say,
longer get arrested. You get a
Sure.
fucking I don't know to what extent that they did. I didn't read too much into it.
what I'm trying to ask,
But they decriminalized it to where you don't fucking go to prison for fucking 5 years for having a fucking
100% applaud him. But what I'm asking is, can you find a way to purchase psilocybin specifically?
Yeah, you can do that right down the street.
Yeah.
You just go knocking on enough
are you
doors.
talking without the mushrooms? Is that
Exactly.
what you're trying to say?
Precisely, yeah. Is there a way to do that?
There's a reason why they did it that way on a legal level, because that is the psychoactive chemical in it that makes you have that psychedelic experience. So if you're able to extract it from a mushroom, which there are fucking ways, and you can package it in different ways, to where if you were to just say shrooms were legal, and then there would have to be this whole fucking biological, because there's so many that have
botanist
psilocybin.
fucking.
You can't just be like, oh, this one strand is legal. No. What they did, they were smart, and they said the psychoactive, which is what was illegal, is technically any mushroom that holds the psychoactive material of psilocybin is illegal, and they treat it a lot worse than fucking marijuana in all states. But they decriminalized it in fucking Colorado. So yeah, no, I applaud them. That's another reason why
That's
I
fucking
want to fucking live there.
badass, dude. That's
Dude, they're on the
super
forefront.
badass. Yeah.
They're on the fucking forefront.
And you have to have states like that in order to progress as a.
Yeah,
as a
Eventually,
human
we've had this
civilization.
conversation a million times before, but eventually they should all get to that point.
Yeah.
I stand with what you say about. We've talked about this.
Well,
The drugs should be legal, but hold people accountable for their fucking actions that they do on those drugs. Like,
well, it's weird that you say that, because like with the Missouri gun laws, you just had that proposed, and has it passed though? You said it passed.
Yeah,
So
it's
legitimate.
decriminalized.
It's okay.
Psilocybin,
Okay.
the compound of psilocybin,
Is
which is found in
decriminalized
magic
in
mushrooms,
Colorado.
is decriminalized in
That's,
Colorado.
That's awesome. And I'm not too entirely sure about the gun legislation in Missouri, but you have what we talked about in Missouri happening with the gun legislation and your Second Amendment rights, which is fucking badass, to Colorado doing this. Like that's
states are finally stepping up. And
that's
doing,
a win-win. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about the progression, like if you fully legalize marijuana, the next step is this. The next step is a naturally grown substance that has psychedelic.
Well, it has to have value for sure.
Yeah. I mean, so after I heard that, I was like, so it'll be 5 years from now, you'll be able to go to Colorado and then just buy shrooms.
And buy shrooms.
And
buy
just trips,
shrooms.
yeah. But I mean, you're gonna have, okay. And I'm down with that, and people can do it in the comfort of their homes.
And another thing,
or next to the mountains, and enjoy nature for its true beauty.
Fall off the edge of the mountain.
And maybe Johnny goes to Colorado and trips some mushrooms, man. Maybe.
Yeah, for your first time, man.
Dude, that would be where it's at.
I love weed, but fucking mushrooms scare me, bro.
Dude,
No,
smoke it with some weed. You'd be all right.
Once again, at least from my personal experience, I can only say from my own personal experience, is shrooms are a very, very potent psychedelic. Very potent psychedelic. That does not make you fucking just go wild and crazy. You will be sitting down. You're not doing too much.
Well, hold on. If you're young, dumb, and full of cum, you will be acting a fool in some sense.
I mean, maybe a little bit, but if you're having a,
I feel like it depends on your setting. If there's like 13 other people around and you're
it's
partying,
not some shit.
probably.
Trust
Even
me,
then you don't want to.
Just
but
from my personal
will.
opinion,
You're
which
right.
is, I'm an expert on my own opinion. And me being an expert on my own opinion, I am saying that shrooms is still safer than somebody who is blackout drunk.
Yes.
That is just
yeah.
my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not backing that up. That's my opinion. I'm an expert on my own opinion, and that's what I'm sticking with.
There was, I don't want to go too deep into stories, but there was one time when we were all doing it as a group of friends, and I just bought this new 46-inch Westinghouse TV, and I just had the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, sorry, with the Kinect, and we had like the bowling games and all the track and field games.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Dude.
Shit
And
was
we
dope.
were bowling
Good
with
memories.
the Kinect, man. I was tripping balls, bro, tripping hardcore. And you have just a group of people around you.
Me, Jordan, Courtney, and you.
Don't put names out there.
Oh shit, my bad.
But anyways, some of the people he named, yes, that was completely accurate.
My bad.
And I'm
My
like,
bad.
these motherfuckers are judging me right now. If I was drunk, I would have been fine. I could have got more wasted and acted a fool. I've acted a fool, wasted plenty of times. But you're right. When in that state of mind, dude, I went straight to my room. I locked myself in my room, and I just rode the trip out, man.
Because alcohol starts separating you from yourself, as to where shrooms or any kind of potent psychedelic like that, all of a sudden puts you deeper inside of yourself. And all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, you start worrying about things that you would have never thought about, and you have to overcome those things.
See, that doesn't sound fun.
No, but it can be very beneficial. It can be beneficial. I think you need to come at shrooms not so much as a
Jesse,
as a fun thing.
Jesse, I'll try shrooms with you sometime, man.
Fuck yeah.
Doors got to be locked though. None of that fucking Zach can't just show up.
Yeah,
that was some
yeah, it was
crazy
bad time.
shit.
If you ask me, hey, Paul, I will give you one paid day of work. Okay, no, one not even paid. One sick day of work, or you can trip shrooms. I would definitely trip shrooms, But I mean, within a different setting, without my family or anything like that, because I'm in a different place right now. That'd be really weird to do it now. Extremely weird. But you know what I'm saying. I would definitely
a place where you can and how the best way to do it, in my opinion, if you're trying to do it on a beneficial level, to where you're trying to get some new insight on yourself, kind of thing, because it will give you some fucking insight if you let it. And by letting it is getting rid of some distractions. So a dark room, laying down in a meditative state of mind. And you go into it with this mentality that I'm trying to discover something, new thought process, whatever, new opinion on something that's been troubling me. And I attempt to focus on it. Or if I'm just going to sit here and allow the fucking ride to fucking happen. You can, it can be a social thing too. Which is, I don't think you really get a benefit from it whenever you do it with other people, and then you're just like, trying to have, doing conversation and stuff like that. I think where you really benefit from is from a meditative standpoint, and you're on it, and you're just in your own head, and it gets scary. It's crazy just to think that you can lay there and take something and then be so frightened by your own ego. And by all these worries that you have in life, and you have to really like face them,
and that's like your first few experiences, right? And like we're not like well rounded with it. So imagine if you're able to use this, use this psilocybin. I'm not even gonna call it a drug, right?
Yeah, it's a drug.
I mean, it's a drug. It's a
drug.
mind
But
altering.
I mean everything. Sugar. I mean, you.
Yeah,
exactly.
So sugar, caffeine,
but imagine
nicotine.
So imagine if you get used to it like you do an energy drink, or if like you do alcohol. I mean, obviously you don't want to take it like alcohol. You couldn't, wouldn't be good. I mean, people do microdose and all that bullshit. And maybe it's not even
that's
bullshit.
true. People microdose, but they're not trying to.
What I'm saying is, imagine if you were accustomed to it. Let's say you trip shrooms once a month, and I have no idea what would happen if you did this, and you were able to get used to it and get into that self-centering ego trip, and just maybe you can control it into a better outcome, or you can find something different as opposed to it just being the scary thing that you talk about.
My experience of it is whenever you do it, and my last bout with it, and that's a bad word for it. Whenever I had some, and I used it. I had like 3 trips from it, and probably about like I want to say like 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So it's basically like a once a week, since I got it, just because I fucking had it kind of thing. And honestly, by the 3rd one, I was like, man, I'm over this. I'm over having this experience. Like
Was it kind of like wearing on you, basically?
Yeah, you're like
not like a tolerance level, but like I'm kind of tired of this.
Yeah, no, it's literally like, man, I'm this.
Here's the thing though, you can use it. You can, if you feel that way, I feel like that there's a way around it, is what I'm saying. You can enjoy the experience. It's just a matter of finding that way to enjoy it. It doesn't have to be this detrimental experience or this deep self-centering aspect of finding who you are out.
Just depends, but it could affect everybody differently too.
Nobody wants to fucking trip shrooms every day.
Nobody
wants to.
Not at all. But what
you literally are just like, man, I that's too much, and I wasn't even able to process. Like it takes so much time to even process what you experienced from your last one. Like you're still going over the what you dealt with in the first one, as far as all of a sudden you had this new idea, this new thought process. Why were you worried about this kind of thing? Like you're still processing that one. You're like, I don't need it again.
You bounce right back from it when you come out of it.
I'm telling you,
you bounce way back.
At some point, you're like, man, I don't need to take this again because I've already gotten what I wanted from it, and I haven't even really learned from it yet, and I'm still processing this whole experience that I had with it. It is not. You talk about something. Okay, weed is more addicting than fucking shrooms. Trust me, people will still smoke weed every day. Nobody fucking trips shrooms every day. Attempt somebody. Give somebody
I never said.
Give somebody $1 million to. Okay. Give somebody $1 million, and you have to fucking eat a dose that puts you in a hallucinogenic state, fucking twice a week. They would not want the fucking $1 million. They would be so burnt out on that shit. They'd be like, it's not worth the fucking $1 million anymore.
It's a poison. What I'm saying,
it's not a poison. Well, that is a misconception that it's
so
food
it doesn't
poisoning.
give you stomach poisoning?
Absolutely not. It's psilocybin. It is. I've heard so many people say this today, which blows my mind. That's like the bullshit that the government told you about marijuana being 7 times more. No, magic mushrooms.
You
shrooms,
smoke weed just once, you will die.
It does not give you food poisoning. It does not give you food poisoning. It is the psilocybin in it, which is the psychoactive hallucinogen in it that causes your trip. And it is not fucking food poisoning. That is the biggest fucking load of bullshit.
Well, a lot of people
that they unload upon.
A lot of people throw up when they're on it. Maybe
I have never thrown up on it once.
And believe me, you will one time.
You take too much. You take too much. They're probably drinking on it too in a fucking party scenario.
That's true.
Yeah. Yes, you can mix it. I want to know your experience where you take 2 grams and then fucking throw up off on it, and you don't have a mushroom allergy.
It makes it more intense. Actually,
if you don't have a mushroom, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What I'm saying is, I'm not trying to like advocate for anyone to take mushrooms twice a week or anything like that. I'm just saying eventually, like, you do it so many times, like, I think that you could alter or even learn more from the experience as opposed to looking at it as it not necessarily a scary, like, the way we portray it, I feel like it's going to make Johnny even more scared to do it, No,
because you still have to have that input-output and that remembering, what did I learn from that last one? If you can remember and fully take on what you learned from your last like meditative psilocybin trip and truly grasp what you needed to be as far as bettering yourself and bettering the world and the fucking universe and your peace in it, because that's how you get when you're on psilocybin, is you get this sense of this connection between shit. You get all these feelings that if you truly learn from it, okay, now you can take it again. Once you fully learned and fully understood what you were experiencing and why maybe you were feeling anxious or why you were worried about a social scenario and all these things, whenever you truly learn from it and develop, sure, then go ahead and take them again. You can't just build up on it.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, Johnny trips shrooms live on the podcast.
That'd be hilarious.
I'd
be fully down for that.
Nuts.
That would be nuts. You would have to take it serious, though. Like when you come out of that trip, like you have to.
If anything, you microdose it. Like sure, but I don't know any case studies about microdosing and whether or not that has.
That's what I'm saying.
Effects.
It's so limited, right? To the point that if you were to take mushrooms and you think the way that you think and you go through those experiences of the things you were just talking about and how you could maybe on how you can maybe better yourself, and then you come out of that trip and then it's just business as usual for the most part. Maybe that first day you're like, man, I need to change it. I had that trip, but then after that day, like you're just boom, it's just work, mundane, doom. Same
that could be on the person.
So then you have to remember that, and you need to meditate on that without going through another psilocybin trip. But remember that what were you giving yourself through that experience? That new thing that you were able to see through that pathway. Learn from that, and then whenever you feel as though you've adapted it, or let's say you even forgot. So if you forgot, maybe then do it again. But you need to come at it like there is something therapeutic and beneficial from this, and you need to use it seriously.
Well, I think like
because honestly, you could fucking trip shrooms fucking once a week for a fucking year and just be stupid and fucking party, and you're not gonna get cancer from it. You're not gonna get cancer. It's not gonna fucking kill you, but you're taking something and not utilizing it how it was meant to be utilized. In my opinion, this is something that was here on Earth, and I think anything that's naturally grown, and you take and it's psychoactive and it starts creating new thought processes in your brain is there for a fucking reason. You never see anybody fucking trip shrooms and then they come out a fucking racist. If anything, they feel more connected to everybody, right? Like they have a better grasp of holy shit, it's not just me. Like it's you never hear shit like that.
That'd be crazy. You just take shrooms and then I come out and I'm like, 2 things. I know fluent French. I also hate black people now. Like that'd be so fucked up.
You don't ever get that. You don't ever get that.
I think, definitely don't.
And I think that, that's it.
What?
Man, I gotta piss like a motherfucker. I'll be back.
Jesse Westbrook, ladies and gentlemen, an expert on his own opinion.
Yeah. I'm not too entirely sure about it.
I don't have a lot to say on the shrooms simply for the fact that I haven't tried it.
For sure.
You want to talk about weed, you want to talk about coke, that's cool.
I think like the scariest thing is like probably like the shrooms that we've taken, they're like who knows like the potency of it and shit like that. But like I've listened to some podcasts on some dudes who have like found some fucking like raging shrooms. Like big time, like it'll fucking make you trip your balls off. And what I'm saying is I think I'm more down to the maybe not like what Crow was talking about, like having a shaman and stuff like that. Like that might be too much for me. I would have to know the person before I.
I mean, I like the idea of like I don't mind if I were to actually try shrooms. I don't mind the idea of like being there with Jesse either also tripping or him being sober and just me tripping with the house fucking locked down and no social interaction with anybody whatsoever. And knowing that I don't have to do anything for the next, 24 hours.
Exactly.
Even if it's only a 4-hour trip or how. I don't really know for shrooms.
But
I don't know.
You would want 24 hours because your mind, the way it thinks.
Yeah. I'd be cool with trying in that situation. But, there's no part of me that would ever be like, I want to party and do this.
That was my first experience, man. Like, my first experience.
You actually mentioned that. You've mentioned it on the podcast. We've talked about this.
What?
That's
your first experience with shrooms.
I don't think so.
That's
really?
A lot of people's first experience with it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's definitely
talked about you being super
just,
drunk and fucked up, and then we talked about this.
What happens when you create a black market is you have now experiences like this to where you have uneducated people buying illegal shit that has a market for it from people who are also selling you party fucking drugs.
Yeah.
You go to these people to fucking party, and they're like, "Hey, here's some fucking shrooms." They're not going to be like, "Hey, you
buy 5 Molly, get 1 free gold cap."
Yeah, like no,
wouldn't
it's
even
not
like that, man. It just happened.
This is what happens when you have a fucking black market. Is people all of a sudden misuse shit like that.
Talking about the black market, man. Do you know that the United States have actually seized one of? I think it's Iran. Or no. They have seized one of North Korea's ships in the sea. Or in the ocean. They actually seized one of their ships. Because they were getting too close to something. I have to look at the article. I've just heard about it multiple times where we've actually taken control over one of North Korea's ships.
For going where, though? That's the important part.
They getting all them Samsung phones?
It may not even be North Korea. I'm pretty sure it is.
Because you just said Iran a second ago.
No. I said Iran, and then I said, no, I'm pretty sure it's North Korea. And North Korea is also testing nuclear missiles again.
Nuclear?
Yeah, again.
Me and you have real trouble saying that word, apparently, from Johnny. He brings this up outside of the podcast quite a bit. Nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear. Not nuclear. There's no U in there. That's some George Bush bullshit.
Yeah, U.S. seizes North Korean ship accused of violating sanctions.
Motherfuckers violating sanctions and shit. You fucking
Do
get
you
their
think,
shit.
You think Kim Jong-un's just like, okay, they're seizing one of my ships?
It's one ship, bro.
Dude.
I hope he has that accent when he does it. Whatever the fuck accent you were just doing.
I wasn't doing an accent. I was just like,
That shit was a fad anyway. Nobody's talking about.
North Korea?
we're just we're
anymore.
seizing ships, man. We're just taking over some stuff. Possessions.
I don't know. I'd have to look into it. It's so weird when you'll talk about an article or whatever on the podcast. You'll talk about some article, and I'm like, man, that sounds interesting. But I'm like, no offense, Paul, but I don't want to just hear the information from you. I want to actually
For
read the
sure.
article myself.
No, definitely. I've heard it from multiple sources, and that's why I just wanted to bring it up. I haven't looked into it at all just to see what the ship is or anything like that. But I mean, shit's happening. Shit's escalating. Both of you said in previous podcasts that you don't think an actual big war will ever happen, just for the fact that we're all one community right now.
Actually, we didn't say this in a podcast. We
No,
said this
actually,
standing
yeah, we've
outside
said
of the
that
house.
outside.
No. We definitely said it in the podcast.
We had one where we talked about war for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
We did talk about the potential of war and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think we went into super detail. But just in case we did, I'll cover it real quick. I don't believe that we will see. I mean, we'll see the fake wars. Not fake. I'm using that word wrong. Not fake. We will see the wars like we have right now, that are over either oil or people being mistreated or so on and so forth, that are dealing with one smaller country with no real military, just insurgency and stuff like that kind of thing. I do not think we will see another world war.
We've had this podcast, I promise you.
Okay.
That we've talked specifically about this, and this is where I disagree, and I just want to provide you.
We'll do this quick since we've already had this podcast.
Yeah, but no, I'm going to update you with information on why I think that, I don't believe in that, and just for the specific reasons of, one, we've sanctioned anyone doing any sort of deals with Iran when it comes to oil, and they're the largest export of oil in the world, short of Saudi Arabia, who said that they were going to increase oil production because we put sanctions on Iran, right? And from last I heard, we don't truly know if Saudi Arabia is going to be able to upkeep with the oil production since we've created sanctions on Iran. Not only that, Iran is going to close the Gulf of whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it. They're going to close that Gulf right there. Where
The Strait there or whatever?
The Strait, yeah. They're going to close that. And that's where like 40% of all oil exports come
shipped
around,
through.
Exactly, around the world. The number one export of oil to China is from Iran. And we just put sanctions on Iran and said anyone who does any sort of business with Iran, we will not. Basically, we're not going to recognize it. And what do you think China's going to do? They're going to want to go to war.
You know what's crazy though with the whole oil thing? When do you think we'll be? It'll be a long time before we'll fully off oil. I shouldn't say that. When do you think electric cars will be more popular than gas cars? Like, when do you think that that over 50% of the cars on the road are electric? It doesn't really matter.
I'll go like 40 years.
Okay, the thing
No, I'm saying less than that.
Okay, the thing I'm getting to
2033,
and I would have to
2033 is when that statistic comes in.
I would have to
No,
find.
you're about to see a huge influx of that shit.
I would have to find the actual article and stuff. But right now, if every single, once again, I've read this, but I don't quote me because I don't remember exactly where I read it. So I'm only like 90% sure of this, but I remember reading it like about a month ago. If you were to shut down every oil thing right now, like the drilling and shipping and all that kind of stuff, you were to get rid of all fucking, not shipping, I guess, but get rid of all oil drilling, and we don't find any new oil, and we're not creating or getting new oil at all. There is enough stocked up at these companies right now to run everything the same as it is right now for 10 years.
Yeah, that's
without getting any more oil. We have enough.
The oil reserves
to run everything right now for 10 years.
And that's not even including Antarctica and how much coal and oil is in Antarctica. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a shit ton. 10 years.
That's a lot. That's a long fucking time, especially with the way technology is advancing to kind of phase out fucking fossil fuels.
They're already giving companies tax breaks for creating electric cars. They're taxing them less because they're already foreseeing this future. This future
they've also started taxing higher on cars that, like, if you get a V8 engine in the United States right now,
yes,
it costs $1,000 more. No matter what, it costs $1,000 more. It's a fucking gas guzzler tax.
They know the future, which is a better future. Electric cars should have been a thing a long time ago. We should have moved into the third industrial revolution a long time ago. We're overdue for it. This is that movement into the third industrial revolution to where we get away from oil and coal and these non-renewable resources.
You're saying there's no war in between that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Because everybody's too intertwined now.
Do you think China's just going to be like, okay, yeah,
yes,
because
because
China's our largest import, so yeah, it's cool.
Secretly,
it's
okay,
cool.
you can hear all
good.
this bullshit on the news of, oh man, they're arguing, possibly shit's gonna go down.
Why did
Guess
Russia?
what? Economically,
why is Russia moving into Venezuela right now? Right on our doorstep because we did the same to them.
If you look at the big shit, no, we can never have another world war. Because it crashes now all economies.
True, we've already had this conversation. You're right. You're
completely
right.
crashes all economies.
I don't want to go down this road again.
If there's a real war, if there's a real
like
war,
a world fucking war,
if there is a
where
real,
the world separates on you're on fucking one side.
We've covered this.
You can't do it anymore.
You
can't do it. It crashes all economies.
If there is a real world
There's too much
war,
money involved.
It will be like we won't even know about it. It'll be fucking online. It'll be like getting hacked and shit and changing fucking numbers and shit and like what economies are worth and all this kind of just it'll be behind the scene shit. That's the real fucking wars that will take place are information.
I disagree.
It's been that way.
They're even going so far to say that there is not going to be another recession on an economic level because it's so intertwined.
Well, no one has the answers to any of these questions.
That's
They're
true.
Just assuming. They're just assuming, which is fine. Okay, so question.
When was the First World War?
Why do we have all of this oil?
What do you mean?
Like, why is there so much an abundance of
because
oil?
Oil gets used fucking constantly.
Only because we use it.
Well,
everybody's using it.
Right. For what purpose?
What do you mean?
To
For
power
everything.
shit.
For
It's an energy
electricity and power. And I saw something the other day talking about like how much oil it actually takes to ship and create and so on and so. Like electric cars take a lot of fucking oil to make. Electric cars take a lot of oil to make.
There you go.
And a lot of coal.
But hopefully in the next 15 years, 15, 20 years, whatever, that process becomes
of course.
refined.
Obviously, we progress as we talked about technology.
You can be oil independent. It's just going to take a lot of time.
My question is, why is there all that oil specifically for what we do now? It works perfectly. The oil's there for a reason.
What do you mean?
It's not perfect.
There for a reason. Are you getting like some spiritual fucking God put oil in the fucking ground level shit?
I'm not going as far to say that, but it's
if
just
you think
weird how it works.
oil is the best technology.
No, I'm not saying it's the best technology, but what I'm saying is for some reason it works for what we need it to work for. And like you said, even for electric cars, we're going to need oil.
No, eventually you can get past that. Eventually, I agree with Jesse here with the third industrial revolution and stuff, all this. Like, this needs to happen. And it may very well possibly happen within our lifetime.
It should have happened within our fucking grandparents' ending of their lifetime.
I'm just saying
where they were old and saw the third industrial revolution.
According to the way technology progresses, maybe, but to go from nothing to oil,
we'll get Jeremy Rifkin on.
50 years later, yeah, we need to progress to something different.
No, we'll get Jeremy Rifkin
on. For the whole human evolution, we've been here for how long? Thousands of years, 10,000 years, and we've had oil for what? 100 years, a little over 100. 200 years max.
Yeah, I don't know the actual numbers on that, but that would sound
give or take
correct.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden you want to hit that third industrial revolution. We go from 8,000 or 10,000 years of nothing, 200 years of oil, and now you want a third industrial revolution.
Absolutely,
it doesn't work like that, bro.
No,
I get what you're saying,
sorry,
Paul. I get what you're saying,
like
but it does because we advance exponentially.
That fast? I'm sorry.
So,
if you look, it's a snowball effect.
Hold on. So this is a great example of this. So if you scroll back probably 12 years ago, the top 10 most profitable companies between 10 and 15 years ago are eight out of the 10 are oil companies. 8 out of the 10 are oil companies. Now you go to current day. How many companies do you think are oil companies out of those top 15?
Maybe 2.
It's literally 2. The rest are technology companies.
And how much of those, all of those technology companies, none of them use oil?
I'm sure that oil is involved. But
yeah.
No, within their company, not like they drive cars or jets or shit like that.
But
for their products.
But guess what they're working on? alternative energy,
We'll get
energy
there.
and automation.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
it's inevitable. If you think oil is this necessary part of fucking shit to where we'll never be able to get away from fucking oil, it's a fucking joke.
I'm not saying that. I completely agree with it.
Aliens are literally laughing because they're like fucking
You have-
100 times.
They're like
on
still
the
on
100th.
they're still on oil.
Yeah, they're like
But-
on the 100th industrial revolution,
like-
like on another fucking planet right now.
No, I agree with that. But
Running shit off fucking like snail fucking cum or whatever the fuck they're using. You don't fucking know. Could be.
I know.
Could
I'm just
fucking
I'm
be.
just
You don't
imagining.
know.
I'm just imagining a factory with just a whole bunch of people fucking with snails
Jerking snails off
jerking
and shit.
snails off.
You know how hard it is to jerk a snail off, man?
no, I
Go
think,
back to oil.
I think that
Trust me, go back
You
to
brought-
oil, bro. You never want to jerk a snail off.
I think that they
I'm sorry, we have to let you go. You just brought in extra salted fries to the snail jerking off company and killed half our fucking stock.
I think that there was some point or time, like there was some point within our evolution where we could have went a different route, and the route we went was oil. And none
I
of it-
really, ignoring our entire podcast tonight, I really just want the title to be "Jerking Off Snails?" Question mark. Like that's the podcast.
if we can get away with it, I'm down. But like I said, we could win. There's probably a way to use water to use all the things that we use today, but with water. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a mechanism to use it.
Whatever kind
that
of
way.
happened with that? They tested hydro stuff for a good amount of time, and then they kind of moved past it.
There are videos on YouTube
Of-
of
People creating like hydro engines and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah,
and then
no,
they
I've seen that.
and then they mysteriously die, and their patents are gone. That's legitimate.
No,
Yeah,
there's people.
no, that's
there's
the
people
thing.
that these days create those engines and stuff though, and there's something to do with like the way it uses corrosion and all this stuff. It doesn't last real long, or it's not real fucking safe. Something about that.
There's this one video that comes to my mind where this guy has a piece of metal that's of whatever,
Like a metal rod that's in.
and it hits water,
Yeah.
and it stiffens, and then it moves through the water, and then whenever it comes out of the water, it completely fucking like lose. I know this is a horrible example, but it literally, without anything, it's just a wheel with whatever metal shit, and he put half of it's in water, the other half's out of water, and the shit is just spinning. The shit is just, he's like, there's your perpetual energy. Here it is, right here.
And that guy died.
I got
I got it. I figured it out.
Did he not die mysteriously?
I don't know the background of the guy, but
Yeah.
I mean, you could look up this fucking video, and there's all kinds of shit like that. And that's not the only one, dude. There's like 100 others of energy sources that don't require even sunlight or wind, or even heat. Shit through magnetics. With it, they've literally come up with
So, question:
magnetism. Fucking creates energy. I've literally seen a dude with fucking 2 magnets and fucking powered some shit. I mean, like minimally, but he's still using small magnets to fucking power shit somehow.
We'll get there one day. As soon as
like-
companies stop.
No, we already fucking have that shit.
Do you think that there's
No, I'm
there one
saying
day.
like on a massive.
Do you think
scale.
there's negative effects to anything that you use and mass consumption like that?
I mean, there could be negative effects to everything
Right.
in life.
So if we were to use just water, for instance, as opposed to oil, do you think that there'd be a shortage of water?
That could very potentially happen because
No, impossible.
why?
Because you would have to break down water on a molecular level to completely get rid of water.
So
right?
As you
I know,
burn
but if
it,
more
it goes-
people are using it, if every car now contains more water, because water's all like recycled, you know, like it evaporates, goes back. I mean, you learn this shit in fucking middle school.
So you're actually using it.
Water.
But I'm saying if you take now this amount of water and put it in every fucking car in existence,
And it truly goes away, like you're just expending it, and it doesn't get put back.
yeah.
Well, how would it get put back?
that's-
It's in the engine and it's working and it's doing a purpose.
Well, no,
you're going to
it's-
get rid of it.
No, not necessarily. Not if you're not. I don't know. I don't know the fucking science
No,
behind
no,
it.
but that's interesting. So,
But if you are using it,
if you use it thoroughly, like completely, to where it no longer gets put back into this precipitation,
evaporation,
condensation, or not condensation. What's the 3?
it's precipitation, condensation, and then evaporation.
Something like that. Yeah. This is a long fucking time.
And then
ago.
masturbation.
It's like fucking, yeah, it's like second grade for me. But if somehow you eliminate it from that system and then now water is just going away, that's kind of fucking scary.
Yeah.
But you don't, I don't know that process.
There was an interesting video I watched. What if we threw all of our garbage in volcanoes? I was like, that's a pretty interesting way to get rid of all the garbage
You're
that we
not
have.
supposed to burn garbage.
Well, I mean, that's what we do. They're incineraries.
Yeah, I mean-
all of our garbage, we burn it.
I thought you really just weren't supposed to burn most garbage.
You're
I mean,
definitely
I'm
not
sure there's some you
supposed to.
can't. That's what I'm saying.
Well, some people bury it.
We
a lot
talk
of-
about like
yeah.
global warming and all this shit and the shit we put in the atmosphere, but you want to throw shit in volcanoes?
Well, yeah, I mean, and they even broke it down to saying that there's like however many different types of volcanoes. There's only actually a few volcanoes on Earth that you could actually throw garbage into, and when you do, it explodes.
I think we just throw it all in the
Small.
ocean and create a new continent.
We've already done that.
We
And
need
call
more-
it. And we call it
Hey, what's the most valuable thing?
Oakland.
What's the most valuable?
Fuck the Raiders.
The most valuable thing?
Sorry, they're
Land.
moving to Las Vegas.
Land. Let's
true.
use our trash to create more land.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah, it could be the trash raiders.
Already are.
AFC West championships for the next like 10 years.
That's
Kansas City
right.
Chiefs.
Patty Mahomes,
Yeah,
baby.
Patty Mahomes. Fuck the Raiders.
He listens to this podcast, Patty. Just hit the like button, bro.
Yeah, man.
Don't even comment.
Yeah,
don't even comment.
Just hit the like button.
And
got
subscribe.
you.
Subscribe, man. I bet that's who he is, man. I bet he's Tim Denham.
Tim Denham
Tim Denham.
That's
is
Patty
Patty
Mahomes.
Mahomes.
He's commented over like 16 times, man. Tim, if you listen to this whole podcast, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we shouted you out a bunch, man. Yeah.
He deserves it.
He
does.
unsubscribed. He has way too much attention, guys. Trying to keep a low profile
trying
out
to
here.
be-
FBI is hitting him up. I knew he was
How
out
do they
there.
know about the trash continent? How the fuck did they figure that out?
They're
Some
they're
deep-
interrogating Tim Denham.
They're like not even fucking. God damn it! I forgot his name already. Son of a bitch.
Tim
The
Denham.
fucking guy from Infowars. I feel like a dumbass.
Alex
right?
Jones.
They're like not even Alex Jones knows about
The
this.
trash
The
continent.
trash continent.
New Oakland.
We've been developed. New Oakland.
New Oakland.
President Tim Denham. All right, man. This is the most lighthearted podcast we've had, and I love it.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good.
It was, man. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification. We're at an hour and 1 minute. Comment below, and to all our junkies out there.
Stay fly and ring the bell.